Well, see, that's what I did.
Hi, everyone. We're live back with House Healthcare, still on Wednesday. So we are going to attempt, I'm going to attempt for us to walk through well, in general, where you find things in the budget, but then really where you can find the items that we recommended to appropriations. I will say, I believe everything that we recommended was included in the appropriations budget that they voted out. So it's really great news, especially, some of our high priority items. So you could go back to the document, right, our chart, which is somewhere in our committee page. But what I'm really going to start with is just showing you where things are. And again, Nolan, please jump in anywhere. So we're on, we're going to go to the Appropriations Committee webpage. So the first thing about appropriations is because they create the budget document, the bill itself will always be as introduced on their page. So they voted it out on Monday. So you could go to Monday and it's not there. So we're just going to go to the top and type in 494, which is the number of the bill.
Bills in and out of committee, a place to find it too.
It probably could have been there too. Yes.
I just want to say thank you. I have never, ever noticed that search,
What search?
The
that
document.
you can just type in.
The number of the bill?
I've never even noticed that search line.
All right.
before.
We've accomplished something already.
That's what I just said. It took me 2 years to figure out something that I just heard. House overview page. Who knew?
They show you in the,
Where did you go to, and I.
Oh, right. Yep. So see at the very top in the white box.
You go to bills resolutions.
Nope. Just go. See where it says
see where
search.
there's a little magnifying glass?
See where it says search for bill or resolution.
Yeah.
Right. Just put the number in there
Oh, all right.
and then click search.
Oh, no, I was talking about on the appropriations webpage.
There's a sub-search.
There's a-
Oh, there is a sub. Yes, there's a thing there too.
Committee.
Gotcha.
I've never, ever
Can I
noticed that.
show
I
it?
haven't ever used.
Sure. What's another trick?
Another trick is go to the appropriations page.
Okay. That's 7-second
Then
delay.
scroll down, click on bills.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
what Bobby was saying.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've done that, but
And then you'll see all the amendments too, in the latest versions.
Okay, so scroll down here and go to 494, an act relating to making appropriations for the support of government.
That's the way I've done it.
yeah, that's,
Right, I'm gonna try it that way too.
If you do it from the top of the page, all the way to the tippy top, it's only gonna show you
That bill.
the as introduced, it won't ever show you. But if you go to the committee page and do it by bill, the committee page,
Bills and.
And it says drafts, amendments, and
you
legal.
can see all the
documents.
latest versions that have been posted.
That's why we have Nolan here. Thank you.
Right, I was
I
like.
usually just tend to go to the bill.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
There it is.
except it can't.
That's,
Get there.
well, then you get the most recent,
Yeah,
because the as introduced can be really short.
right.
oh my gosh.
If it's a short, yeah, so then you get this draft
Drafts,
amendments.
All right, so that's how we do it. Something's wrong with my iPad, so let's give it a minute here.
This is the internet. Oh.
Yeah, see, it's not.
So,
Yeah, it goes to this, is what I.
got.
All right, hold on.
Which I find hard to.
Just
Here we go. Okay, so here is the bill as introduced, right?
Right.
So again, my point on this one is with the budget, it's always going to be as introduced because they craft it. So what's really great is if you're doing this on a computer, you usually have a search button. It's usually a searchable document. I can't here on the iPad. But some of the things about,
Actually, you can. If you, at the top where it says legislature.vermont.gov, if you type in the word that you want to search, I'll show you. This is a web browser thing that Apple does. Type in whatever word you want to look for.
what doesn't that change where I'm
I'll show you. Just hit EMS, like type in EMS maybe.
about Medicaid?
Okay. Then to go down, it says in this document. Do you see?
Oh, my goodness.
You've changed
Says control F.
It's control left.
That's how you do it on your phone and everything.
I meant to. Yeah, you got it backwards.
Okay, everyone, one conversation.
And then you can scroll through every instance of that word.
So,
And there's only 30, so that's not a big deal.
so go, oh, I know. Where's the gavel?
Here,
So
use the stapler.
You go to the top, right?
You type in the word and then you go down at the bottom, like
Right.
this, it'll say find it in document, instead of like searching on the web.
Okay, so I'm gonna do it. Hold on, Nolan. So I'm gonna type in, see, we're at the search bar. I'm gonna type in Medicaid. And then see at the very bottom, can you point it out, Bobby?
Right here, in this document, because up there it's gonna go to Google, but this is only in that document.
And then show at the bottom how you can go from,
Yeah, you can change, you can go through every 30 instances
Oh my
in order,
goodness.
or.
this is like the best day ever.
Yeah, and so if you're not on an Apple product and you're using your computer, just do Control F.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Okay,
Left.
Yeah,
Control F.
Yeah, on your web browser.
That's how I find it.
that's how I.
That's how-
find it on Apple, but I've been on an Apple all week.
and then, so can I type in a new word at the bottom?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
36 pairs of words.
that is amazing. That just made my day. Yeah, I'm not even.
Becomes the student.
Yes, I mean, yesterday on the floor, I was plowing through this trying to find her stuff. Okay, so let's
Works on
continue.
your phone too.
I'm gonna be doing that. Okay, so, and this is where I'm gonna need Nolan's help. So in the bill, in so 494, it's broken out into sections. So, so how do I go to the top?
It's fun.
Hit the
Bobby,
top. If you just put your thumb on the top above where the menu bar is, it'll scroll to the very first page. No, not on those three dots, anywhere else, like just to the right or left of that. It usually goes to the top. Did that work?
Nope.
No, it's like hitting that gray area above the menu where you type. And it usually scrolls to the top of the page.
Okay, we're just gonna do it this way. Okay, so we're back at page 1. So, A section, I don't know what is A section? Nolan?
We have a whole tutorial on this.
Yeah, I know. So we're not
I can
gonna.
tell you the B's and the E's.
Okay, so B's, so I will say, when I pick up the book, right, so I looked at it yesterday on hard copy. And I start at the back. So I usually start in section E, because that is language that might be associated with things we put in. Section F, I think, is new this year, and that is all about workforce and one-time money. So I usually start there. Then I go to B 1100, which is one-time money. So I'm going to do our new little tricky thing we just learned. Instead of scrolling all the way through.
Oh, it didn't come out.
Did I spell it wrong?
It's so.
But there we go.
Oh.
So this is page 92 or 96. And it is section B 1100. And so this starts some of the one-time money. So I just read through it because it's good to learn where else we're putting one-time money. But on page 96, we start getting some of our stuff. So this will show you that for Department of Mental Health on row 16, the $105,000 for competency and sanity evaluations was included. The $985 for one-time funding for Soteria House is included. On page 97, we have all the Green Mountain Care Board one-time money that was in there. And that's rows 1 through 9, I believe. And then there's some other things that we didn't do. But on the bottom of page 97, row 19, starts the funding for Blueprint for Health. So again, with the new nifty way we've all just discovered on searching, you could actually just look at our document, right, our budget document, and just type in words pertaining to each section to see if you can find it in what they call the big bill, which I think we should change that language, but. And then on page 98 is the $10 million for emergent funding. I lost that. And then page 108, sorry for scrolling, it's gonna make people dizzy, is information for the workforce again. So healthcare and social services workforce in row 6. So you'll see in row 11, 12, and 13 is the $1 million for emergency medical services, one-time money for training. The 170,000 for the limited service healthcare workforce. Row 19 starts the 3 million. We had recommended 4, they took it down to 3 for DAs and SSAs. And then there's some other economic development stuff. So that's where I go to in the bill itself to look at things. In the very beginning, like in the early B sections, all it does is it lists divisions and dollars. It makes no sense to me, so I tend to skip that. I don't know if Nolan has any.
numbers, right?
It's just numbers, and there's no language with it, so.
And it's a big bulk lumps, so you don't know
Right.
how it's.
Right. So before we go away from the bill itself, any questions, or Nolan, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
All of our language got added also?
Yes,
Okay, great.
yep.
To that, I mean, I think also share the web report.
Well, that's next.
Okay.
So then the other thing you can do is there is a web report.
Actually, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Did you also mention that all the stuff that we covered is in the 300s?
All the things we cover is in the 300s.
It's like E300,
I did not know that.
it's like, so 301 is, so like, and you see all that in the web report too, but like 300 through 314 is DIVA, mental health, and some public health.
Yeah, so like section E307.1 is stuff about Blueprint.
So if you click right there, if you click on human services,
Right, so wait, I don't want to do that yet. So I just want to make sure everyone knows. So this is what's called the web report, which is also on the appropriations webpage. And there's a table of contents. And so like Nolan said, if you just click on human services, it goes right to everything under human services. And so I'm actually going to just click on the first one.
It's right next to the bill, the web.
So you'll see, we're just looking at the very top as an explanation. So fund expense category, personal services, operating expenses, grants, that's expense total, fund total, and it has the fiscal year 23 budget, not actuals, correct? Budget. It has the governor's recommend that we started with this year. It has how the House changed it. And then the House recommends. So in the first one, personal services, the governor recommended 13.1 million. The House added 500,000. So the total House appropriation suggested here is 13.6 million.
And then it gives an explanation for the increase,
And then it gives you some explanations at the bottom.
which I found helpful.
Right, so that is where I found a lot of stuff when I couldn't find it. Because what happens, and Nolan, correct me if I'm wrong, so in the big bill, it's in 494, it's easy to find the one-time funding because it's well broken out. But when things go into the base, I find it's much more difficult to find things. That's where this will help. So for instance, now we're on Secretary's Office Global Commitment. And if you go to like the middle of the listing here, it has House 739,160 general fund dollars, state matched annualized Medicaid transportation increase from the fiscal year 23 BAA. So remember, we put in the BA to increase the transportation dollars for Medicaid. We did not touch it for the rest of the year, but the House appropriations did. So they put that in the appropriation.
can I also say something?
Yeah, please.
Just to be clear too, that all the changes, and you see 500 up, or it's all based off of the governor's recommend as the base. So this is all changes from the governor's recommend and not from fiscal year 23
In this amount section.
in this amount section.
Okay.
And maybe I'm gonna get ahead of you, but
That's
when the Senate, they make changes, it'll also show up in this book report. And then conference, it'll all show up. And this is one of the things that the JFO staff work on when House Appropriations passes out their version of the bill on Friday. And we have legislative staff working through the weekend. This is what they're doing. They're writing all these things in the web report and writing the bill so that when you guys go through, you can see what to change.
So may I ask, when the Senate comes in with their version, will it be underneath the House version?
Yes,
Okay, and then it'll go with the conference committee, like.
Yes.
Yeah, and that'll be, so it'll just be expanded, keep expanding.
exactly. You have to make sure you click on the correct web report. Usually on the JFO webpage, it'll show you which ones.
What do you mean correct web report?
So I don't want to get ahead of
Go ahead,
Sure.
go ahead.
But if you go from the JFO webpage, it'll say like House web report, Senate web report, conference web report. You just want to make sure
Okay,
so you'll want to click on the Senate web report because then it'll have the House and Senate. And then you'll want to click on the conference web report because it'll have all three.
got it.
So say that last time again, click on which one for all three?
Well, the conference, but it'll happen when after conference committee. So it's just the most recent version. So right now there's just the House.
So I don't know if you want to explain to Melanie about how the budget goes through and then Senate responds and then they don't agree and then there's a conference, like, you haven't had that.
Someone has explained that just the general principle of that. I just wasn't sure what it was called.
I can have an offline with her.
That's fine.
That'd be great.
And take you.
Hey, Lori, I made the mistake of going to the JFO website, dinking around and looking at stuff.
Yeah.
There's stuff other than this, but how do I get the green heading?
How do you get to the web? So I got to it from the appropriations committee page,
Right.
but I don't know if there's another way to get to it.
Do you go into JFO?
Go to the JFO website.
Yeah.
I'll do it with you here. And you click on subjects
Oh, subject.
and then appropriations and budgets.
Yeah,
And then you'll click on fiscal year 24.
yeah.
Then all of our most recent stuff.
Right, and that's where I was. So what one are we looking at that's
The web report.
Pardon me?
No, I'm sorry. to
It
interrupt.
might be, so you click on view all, this little thing on the bottom, right? View all 8 entries. It just got bumped down. And
Okay.
there it is. It'll be right there.
The top one.
March 28th web report, because done by times, we posted other stuff. So you can see in the bottom, there's the actual bill, and then there's the web report, both on March 28th.
So what's the web report changes only?
That might just, let's see, that one probably, let's click on.
Wondering how I get to the one you guys had.
I think
But
that
so-
one,
Yeah,
that one only shows sections that have changes, because there's lots of sections that don't have changes.
okay, gotcha.
That's
So did you get there?
got it.
All right, so I want to go back real quick and show you,
There's all kinds of stuff. I mean.
It's amazing.
Thing 8 ways to Sunday.
There is, yes. So if we go back to this row, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 row, line 13 at 763,092. That's the state match to increase rates for primary care to 110% of Medicare. So that's what we did. So I want to make sure everyone has lunch, so I'm not going to go through each one, but you'll also see down below, we have EMS providers to 100% of Medicare. We have the QHCs that we did.
Wow.
So again, this is just a good way to scroll through. There are sections that don't have any words associated with it. I skip all of those because I don't really know what the numbers mean, other than we've gone up or down from the governor's recommend. So when the House changes 0, it means we accepted the governor's recommend.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So any questions on this report? Yep, Bobby?
I was wondering where we could find like the Northeast Kingdom Human Services alternative,
Right. So those are the things that I have trouble finding in these two documents because they're in the base. That wasn't one time, right? That was base.
Yeah, those are interesting to me too, because they were additional requests. Where would those be, Nolan?
So I have a way to find them. I just don't know how to find them in the document.
So what's I'm sorry.
Well, wait, I'm going to show you. So if we go, and then you can tell us how to find it in the document. So if we go back to the appropriations page, and you kind of have to know when appropriations went through the final process. So like on Friday, I know that they looked at all of the items. So if I go to the no, that's not what I want, sorry. If I go to the Sarah Clark, because she's the CFO, go to the budget draft. This is a spreadsheet of everything. It's a draft, but it's the spreadsheet of all of the non-one-time money. And if you look in the very left, there's like a row number.
Oh, there it is, 34,
So 34, there you go.
B317.
Okay, there it is. Yep.
So the governor's proposal, and we supported that, recommend. So there's this, and then the dentist is in here too, because I couldn't find that. So if you look at row 25, the Medicaid dental rate increase of 5.7 million, we have that in there. There's also a spreadsheet under Monday, this just 2 days ago, in their committee page that shows all of the one-time appropriations. And so these spreadsheets are a good way to also say what did or didn't get funded. Now, the question is, Nolan, how would we find this in the document, in the actual budget? I don't think we can, right? It doesn't.
So the answer is where you find a lot of the details are in the narrative,
In the what?
the narratives. So for instance, if you have something in DEVA, you pull up your DEVA budget book and you would look and see what the governor's proposal was. And if
Right.
it's changed, it would show up on the little change line. Or if it's in DMH, you would look at the stuff you got from Commissioner Hawes and you'd find, so it's never clear because you can never fit it all in one document. So you have to just like learn how to like, where to go for information. It's always in either these like narratives, it's in the budget documents where they put the whole detail, or it would be in the change in the budget. It's kind of like, I don't want to call it a game, but it's, you just have to like learn to navigate where the different pieces are.
So
sometimes it's in the language.
And sometimes it's not. So for instance, I went through the language 2 times yesterday, looking for our dental increase to Medicaid, the 74% to Delta Dental, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And so I reached out to Representative Page, who has DEVA in appropriations, and he directed me back to that spreadsheet. So there's no narrative in it, in any of the documents that I could find. So that's kind of what, when things go in the base, that's kind of what makes it a little confusing. So talking to someone in appropriations, talking to Nolan, talking to me, or looking at the spreadsheets on their website is probably the best ways to do that. Leslie?
Well, let's say I wanted to know what the difference is between the governor's budget and the House budget.
As a whole,
Yeah,
so you could look at the web report.
so I'm on the web report.
You go all, so you go to,
The top or the bottom or?
Yeah.
it would be all the way at the bottom, but if you click on, there's usually a grand total,
I see grand total.
and there's a difference.
I see. Got it. Thank you.
But it's like a large city. It's gotta learn where all the coffee shops are.
So is my interpretation right, that the House has recommended almost 230, there is a way.
So wait, hold on, one conversation. Go ahead, Leslie.
What's the question?
No, I was just wondering, the House is recommending 231,000 more than the governor. That's right.
What's the non-duplicative funds?
I think that's stuff like global commitment.
Okay.
Shows up twice,
Yep.
right? Because it shows up in 2 different sections. There's those kind of things when there's matching funds so that you can, there's duplicated funds and then there's not duplicated. Like,
Okay.
so again, like you might find stuff in AHS secretaries as gross, and then you'll find it as state and federal in another section. It's just so they don't get counted twice.
So it's 300 million difference?
187,000, right?
No, 231.
But then the non-duplicative one takes it down to 188. Is that correct?
So I'm sorry, so the difference in the House change from the governors will be 187 million.
unallocated at that. But I'm down at the bottom.
No, you don't have it all there. You're missing like a whole section. You're missing 2 columns.
Can you swipe over?
Oh, yeah, so
Who's Jeremy Fonte? He's done a nice job here. Yes.
Signed his artwork.
Okay, so Jeremy's our web guy.
Okay.
He builds this. He's built this from scratch.
on the one with.
Brutal.
If you go to the grand total at the end, you get a pretty good look at all the stuff.
Right.
Fiscal year 23, the governor's recommend and what we're recommending.
And then
I
eventually
find
we'll
that
just
to
add
be
more
the most
columns.
helpful.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I got on the wrong
Hiccup
one.
or something, I don't know.
Oh, functional.
So,
And then if you wanted like a real tutorial, like A section, what that all means, that's Sarah Clark. You can
Yes.
have her come in.
yeah, and do the whole thing. This was we had some time, so.
Yeah.
So, and you know, honestly, I want to say I was in my second term before I even knew where to find the documents, quite frankly. So it takes time, but it is really beneficial to sit and read them. And you can also ask the copy room to print out anything you want. So if it's, you want to have a hard copy to take home and read or whatever, it does help you understand more of what's being said on the floor and where things are flowing and how our stuff all fits in. So I will go through our chart that we created and just mark, I'll do this today or tomorrow, make sure everything's in, but I'm pretty sure everything made it in. Some of the dollars might be a little bit different, but I think all of our recommendations made it in. So.
Can I
Ask another quick one, go ahead.
Yeah.
So to go back to Representative Peterson's point, if you go to the JFO page again and you go to the 24 and the budget documents, appropriation 24, we update. Remember, you get to click on view all, right? But you can see we'll have documents, any floor documents they'll be there. And if you go back one, just back click a second. Just click back. And you can see if you scroll down, there's the governor's recommended budget. There's everything you need to know about everything is up to governor's. And then when the Senate piece is in there, there'll be governor's rec, House amendment. There'll be, the Senate will have a line, and then and so if we continually update it with stuff that are the web reports, the versions of the bill, any amendments are sometimes in there. But any documentation that is like a floor document, you can find that there too.
Okay.
So may I ask a question?
Oh, and I'm sorry. So I was just looking on their document and there's a provider rate increase section, which is great.
Which doc, where are you?
I'm still on the JFO webpage.
Yeah, that's where I am.
The
29th.
House budget provider rate increases on March 29th.
Okay, so I'm in the wrong place.
There's also budget summary.
Summary of no one.
So lots of good information you
Yeah.
can find there.
That's helpful.
So, in the A section where there are explanations, I was looking in the web report, so it's not connected to the web report, it's elsewhere.
I'm sorry.
What
The A
is,
section, I was just looking at you said the A section has good information.
A section is in the H49 in the bill.
So it's in here, but it's not on your website.
The bill is on the website.
No, I know, but I was just wondering if there's a connection to it.
A section, I didn't say anything about A section.
Someone said that it had great explanations of what was going on.
No, the E section.
Okay.
E.
Sorry.
E is the best place to look for language. All right, so hopefully this was helpful. It was extremely helpful to me. So thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
One last
Wanna get
thing
to the end of
to
the
point out,
document?
if you look at the green bar on the far right, top of page.
I didn't have that on my.
Oh,
Thank you. Right, I know that, yes.
I saw that before.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jeremy, well, he designed it, but it's
Accidentally.
Bethany, Maria, Catherine, they're the ones who load all this in. Everything we do funnels to them, and they're the ones who put it in the budget.
So, and I think that's really important for us to recognize that, we hear from our colleagues who are on appropriations that they work really hard and they really, really work hard. And, we had a hard time prioritizing. They really have to prioritize a lot. But at the same time, we have the JFO staff and legislative council and everyone in the clerk's office that has to put all of this together as they do their work. So thank you.
So can you help me with something? I just put soteria in that search.
In this search?
Yeah.
Okay.
And got a mush, so I'm just trying to help her. Yeah, that, what's that?
Oh, it's in that, because that's the section added.
Right.
Added by the
I'm
House.
sorry, I didn't understand.
That's the section where you find also the all the stuff we asked for. The food bank is in there.
Right. So see,
Catch-all box.
this is a catch-all box that's in the document. So now if you click on that, it takes you to where it is, the House 17.3 general fund.
Oh, I see, so it's embedded in that mush.
Right.
Got
It
it.
was like the discretionary stuff that they.
Okay, thank you. I was surprised, but,
Right.
so I just need to click on that. Ah,
So play around with it, and if you have questions, text me or email me, or, but hopefully this was helpful.
very helpful.
Great. I also want to take 2 minutes and just talk about kind of where we are in the rest of the year. We have about 7 weeks, right? And we have this week, and usually the last week is on the floor. So we really have 4 or 5 weeks of committee time. So I know everyone sent their priorities, and I'm hoping we get to some of them, but our priorities will be, starting next week, the Senate bills that we received. So S37, S47 are the two, and S54 we're doing this week, and S65 I have to look at. So those will be our priorities. And then as we can fit in time for, educational things like continuing education on PBMs to get us ready for next year, as well as other things we can be doing to get us ready for bills in the committee that we want to move forward. Thank you so much, Nolan. We'll squeeze those in as we go, but our priorities will be starting Monday, S37 and S47. So just to be clear about that.
We don't have the workplace violence yet. do we?
That is in judiciary, and I'm not sure if we're going to get it or if we're just going to do a drive-through.
Okay, so I want to talk to Martin about adding my workplace
You
violence
absolutely
language.
want to do that sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. So any other questions policy-wise before we go off air? And I'm happy to talk to anyone outside as well if there's concerns. Great. Remember caucus of the whole at noon in the House chamber, and
They might
have